ladies and gentlemen. After an event this week that we'd never ever want to see again on a football pitch, it's rolled around to Thursday night, and we are the Third and Log podcast. I have Mr. Hope to my right, Mr. Harris below me, and the Dilford Myra that way. That way, I can't get my fingers right. In the bottom left-hand corner there, Mr. Berens. Good afternoon, evening, gentlemen. How are we all today?
Good evening.
I did absolutely so much better written that down. But
All right, but yeah, not too bad, but not too bad.
I literally had one of them days where I've got home, got changed, gone straight out the door again, come home, not even had tea yet. Great.
Or me, I know the score. Come in, walk the dog, feed the dog. You know, just start.
Yeah.
It's fine. You know, no worries.
But yeah,
it's weird. It's like coming back. It's coming back. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like coming back to work and just everything just hitting you. I mean, I know Ollie's like spending evenings in the pub. Am I right, baby Hope?
I have, but doing dry January, so on the orange juices.
You big quitter. I'm just stealing that from Shano. If you've actually seen his Twitter feed, I think it was yesterday. He posted all your social media about people that give up on dry January are just a bunch of quitters.
Dry January is for quitters, 100%. Dry January is for quitters.
Shall we go straight to the top of the news cycle then of today then?
But first, I'll say good evening to Dave.
Good evening, Dave. Good evening. How are you? Let's roll on to this one. Waking up Tuesday morning to seeing 1,000,002 notifications about Bill's game.
Mainly me going crazy on the chat.
Yeah, and then going, wow, this must have been a hell of a game. You know, it'll go mad, notifications left, right, and centre, blah, blah, blah. And then click in and open up going, oh, fuck. Shit. You know, that is some serious thing. I mean, I had the unfortunate thing last year, like probably we all did when we see Christian Eriksen clap on the football pitch.
Yeah.
That's the scariest thing ever. And like seeing the players' reaction, you know, seeing like Josh Allen in tears, seeing, you know, even the Bengals players like distraught, you know, Joe Burrow's going out to give Josh Allen a massive hug to make sure he's okay. And seeing all that, I'm not going to talk about Skip Bayless, and I'm not going to talk about the 5-minute rumor that's going around because...
As Dave's just said, get one number 3, and I think we all echo that.
Most definitely. I mean, we've done it on our Facebook page as well. We put it on our Twitter. We've changed our profile picture the same as every other team, every other thing that's involved in the NFL, because it is the right thing to do to show his support. I have myself, along with hundreds of thousands of other people, donated to his charity.
As have I.
We will put the link for the charity. It's a GoFundMe one on our socials later on today. But the events that happened is a scary, scary, scary thing. And one thing I will say, which is I'm absolutely disgusted about, is the abuse that T. Higgins has been getting on social media as well. It's diabolical. This bloke did nothing wrong. He did everything he was being taught since Pee-wee. You lower your shoulder to break the tackle. You know, me and Phil know. If you've got running at you, Phil more than me because he played in the O-line as well. You lower your shoulder, and this bloke's done nothing wrong. And I hope he's getting as much support as the Bills players are, because effectively, yes, he was involved in the incident, but it's a horrible, horrible thing, and he shouldn't be getting any kind of abuse because he has done nothing wrong.
He was involved in the incident, but it was a 1 in a billion hit that unfortunately he was so unlucky to get. But T. Higgins did absolutely nothing wrong. Everything about the play was clean. It was just a very unfortunate event which just unfortunately happened at exactly the wrong time, in exactly the wrong place, with exactly the wrong amount of force.
100%, but I totally agree with you on that one, Ollie. I think it's like things like this transcend sports. You know, it's like when you got, as Ollie did mention about Christian Eriksen, you've only got to look at the likes of Fabrice Muamba when he collapsed on the football field. You know, everybody rallied around the league, the players, the teams, all rallied around. You were saying about his charity as well, and I know me and Phil that is talk about it every week. But Chris Jericho also donated 10 grand to his charity as well. Yeah. So I think it's transcended not just sports but all walks of life. Things like this shouldn't happen, and as Ollie said, it's a 1 in a billion hit. Things like this don't happen very often. All I can offer is my thoughts and prayers to the Bills organization and to the wider NFL community as a whole.
One thing I will say, though, is I'm glad it happened on a football pitch during a game. Because imagine if he was out playing with his friends, out even on the training field, he wouldn't have had that much medical attention at his fingertips like that. You know, he had medical ER drivers, he had all the physicians there, all the medical staff there that they have at these NFL games nowadays. You know, that all sporting events have an ambulance on site, but they had everything they needed to get that gentleman's life going again. Just forget, he's younger than all of us. He's 24.
Wow.
You know, it's so scary. And I do wish he has all the luck in the world to get back to where he wants to be. If we ever see him on a football field again, I'd love it, but I don't think it will as of much.
We don't know. I mean, I did see today that he has got some form of consciousness, but he was writing, or he was able to communicate with some of his doctors.
I did read they were having to communicate through writing, but because he still has a breathing tube. But he did ask who won the game, and
they apparently said like you did.
The doctors responded, "You won the game of life."
Yeah. So it's been announced that yes, his eyes is open. He has got neurological responses that he should have as per usual. They are saying that the Bills medical staff has saved his life.
Yes,
9 minutes. 9 minutes of CPR they gave this gentleman.
Yes, it was hard. It was hard to watch live. It was very hard to watch.
It was horrible, absolutely horrible to watch. And it's scary, and it does. You know, it makes you think. Going right, I should really go and check my heart out. Go down to the doctors and I can have a look at my heart. You know, just check everything's all there and make sure it's all correct and all that.
After watching that, I didn't sleep that night.
No, I mean, it didn't sit well with me as well the day after, because I had teacher training day, and I went, even people that in my school, like the teachers that do not watch the NFL or have anything to do with American football, they knew what happened last night, so it hit many multimedia platforms.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, it came up on all the normal sports channels that I follow, and it also came from Sky News and BBC News.
Yes.
This is how big this thing is. As I say, it was a 1 in a billion chance. It hit the tackle happened just as the cycle finished.
Yeah.
And that's all it took. And it's scary, and it really is horrible thing. And I really didn't like seeing this at all.
No.
Yeah. How are we all feeling about it, gentlemen? Are we all okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I compartmentalize it. I think universally, it was, and again, only like a significant minority of what I would call like shock journalists were tweeting anything that was controversial about it. I don't know if you guys want to get into what Skip Bayless tweeted out in the aftermath with him and Shannon Sharp, I should say. But I think universally, and I know I mentioned it in the morning about the NFL were unsure about whether or not this game will take place, and then the continuation of the game will take place. The command said it won't be rescheduled. They're going to review in terms of what will the outcome be, because as I said to you guys on Monday night before the game happened, and I messaged you guys in the morning on Tuesday, that game had impact on the three seedings for the Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, and the Bengals. Obviously, his life takes massive precedent, but then the NFL now have a decision to make of what they're going to do next, not just about the game, but how they move forward with their playoffs, because this isn't the beginning of the season, this isn't the middle of the season, this is the week before the playoffs start.
I think the NFL are waiting to see what happens this week, because if Buffalo lose and if Cincinnati win, then they're 2 and 3 seed anyway. So I think then they'll just call it a tie.
Okay.
Obviously, if Buffalo win and Cincinnati win, or something happens which means they need to play this game, then they will play it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen so many different things over the past week. Yes, there has been so many different stories like they're going to cancel both games. They've sent it. They're going to postpone everything. Buffalo are going to forfeit. Cincinnati are going to forfeit. They're not going to play the game. They're going to play it on the bye week and then push the AFC back a week, their bye week back a week, and all these things moving around. There's also been talk of scrapping the Pro Bowl this year and then pushing everything back another week and then just having that thing. But if they do push the Pro Bowl back, the NFL or Super Bowl teams have 2 weeks. It's for as long as I can remember, they've always had those 2 weeks to prepare. It's the biggest game of the season. Most players, it's their biggest game in their career. They need these 2 weeks.
Yeah,
just for the media stuff alone.
They can't move the Super Bowl, and they need to give them a week off, in my opinion.
Most definitely.
I know Hamlin's life takes precedent over all of this, but it is something that needs to be thought about.
Yeah,
and the thing that's also brought up a conversation all week, and we probably come across it on our various social media feeds, is this idea of guaranteed money for athletes. And the likelihood that he might never take another step again, his career possibly could be over. What is going to happen to him for the rest of his life? I mean, this idea like the NFL is a physical sport and there's guaranteed money, but NFL's fought against. I mean, like the disability or the pension scheme. Owners a couple of years ago voted from reducing it. No, it was disability. They voted against that £10,000 a month to £4,000 a month. The owners voted to do that. So players are being shafted with guaranteed or not guaranteed contracts. I mean, you're talking about like the big earners, like the Deshaun Watsons, the Mahomeses, the Bradys, the big names. But Hamlin, he's 24.
He was a 6th-round pick.
6th-round pick. He's not on a big contract. I think they worked that he would be on 800 grand for the year. I mean, yeah, we say only, but 800 grand for the year in potential money, not guaranteed money, potential money. I mean, where does this mean for other players that have their careers cut short for injuries? And it's a horrible thing that's happened, but maybe for the greater good, it might actually start putting pressure on Goodell and the 32 other owners to actually put things in place that if accidents like this do happen, players are protected.
I mean, they have these medicals like all the time. And all the time, there's going to be forced now that, right, okay, let's do an extra heart medical, extra heart checks, extra checks to make sure everything's all right, make sure this doesn't happen. Like, sorry, mate, you've got XYZ issues. This is serious. We can't let you play that. We'd love to have on the coach and find you a coaching path or something like that, or some kind of thing. But
I really hope if Hamlin can't play, they do find him some sort of coaching role, a bit like the way Fabrice Mwamba is now a coach for Bolton's academy.
Yeah. There's a Brighton lad as well, who's the same age, had a heart problem as well. Found out very early, 24 years old. 6 months later, he's back at Brighton coaching the under-9s. Yeah. This is what the thing that NFL needs to put in a contingency plan. I mean, the way they reacted and did everything correct on Monday night was spot on. When Christian Eriksen collapsed, I swear Denmark played the next day. They made Denmark play the next day.
The same day.
They made them finish the game.
Yeah.
Which is wrong. Players were physically distraught. Denmark were no right to play that game that day, and the Buffalo and Cincinnati were no fit state to play that game.
Yeah.
You had players, like I said, streaming, tears pouring down their eyes. It's also come out that Sean McDermott went to Zach Taylor and goes, I need to go to the hospital. And Zach Taylor said, yeah, do whatever you want. I will back you 100%. Yeah. And take my hat off to the Cincinnati and all their coaching staff. We want to do this. Cincinnati captains went to the Buffalo captains to talk to them and say, look, we're here. We can, whatever you want to do, we will go roll with you. We're not going to fight you against this one. And the brotherhood of the NFL, yes, for 60 minutes-ish, to 3 hours, depending how long the game goes on for. You're hitting the crap out of each other, but you love each other. I mean, watching just Jason Kelsey talk to his brother about it on the New Heights podcast, you could see he was tearing up talking about it and how emotional he got. And how it's like, it is hard. It really is hard. I mean, I played football. Phil's played football. I played at decent level, like soccer level. And, you see players go down and get hurt and like ankle, legs injuries. But to see someone get cut off with possibly the last breaths is very, very, very different and very difficult to take in, really.
And also, just talking about the NFL Brotherhood, if you look at some of the money that's been donated to the charity, a lot of other players have donated. Just an example of some is Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Trey Lance, and who's the other one?
Trey Lance's, yeah.
I saw one more too, but I can't remember who.
I've seen about Hoyer's donated $5,000, Max donated $5,000, Lawrence Goes donated, Jacoby's, Kraft put $18,000 in, $18,000 and $3.
As you said, saying Chris Jericho from wrestling has after spelling.
Yes, he did.
He did $5,000 spelling his name wrong, and then $5,000 spelling his name right.
Love that. His aim was $2,500. Last check, it was $5.6 billion.
It was $6.5 million last checked.
Which is insane. I mean, I said, we'll post the link on our socials if you want to donate. I mean, I've donated $10. I just thought it was the right thing to do. It's this time of year and it's Christmas and charities. I like donating to charities at this time of year anyway. But I just thought it was the right thing to do. And I really did. And we will post the link on the socials.
I've also donated $10.
Yeah. As out of respect, we aren't running Catch of the Week or Play of the Week. Just out of respect, because it's not fair to this guy. Really isn't. We will do the normal stuff that we would do on tonight's show, but Play of the Week, Catch of the Week isn't taking place. Hence, it's been a bit, our Twitter feed has been Damar Hamlin as it should be, and any other feeds. Talk about Hall of Fame probably next Thursday. I think we'll go into the Hall of Fame next Thursday and go from there. I think.
Yes.
Most definitely. But yes.
I think we should just echo that all our prayers go out to Damar Hamlin and his close family and friends, and the Buffalo Bills. And this is just an aside. I saw that the San Francisco Niners psychology guy actually came in on his day out and supported all the players' wives. And I believe a lot of them around the league have been doing the same thing.
I mean, just imagine his mum was there watching that.
Yeah, his mum rode with him in the ambulance.
It's. Noah's a, bloody good footballer, my eldest, and I couldn't cope with that. I mean, if he got hurt in a game, I'll be like, I wouldn't be able to function. It'd be horrible, but yeah. Let's roll on with our normal show. I mean, as Ollie said, our thoughts and prayers are with Damar Hamlin, and hope he gets back to full health as soon as he possibly can, and wish him all the best of luck. Let's go back on to This Week in Football. We missed it. We've missed it for a couple of weeks.
Just lighten the mood a little bit. My favourite part of the show.
Love it.
Welcome to the first edition of This Week in Football. Ladies and gentlemen, I know in the middle of February we're going to be treated to the Super Bowl, where the two best teams in the National Football League will go head-to-head for the ultimate prize. However, did you know in the 1960s they did a playoff runner-up bowl? Did you know that, ladies and gents? where the losers of the AFC played the losers of the NFC Championship game. Were you aware of that?
No, but it'd be better than the Pro Bowl.
Wow.
Yes. On the 7th of January, 1961, the NFL Playoff Bowl, the runner-ups, the Detroit Lions beat the Cleveland Browns 17-16.
Wow.
It just sounds like a tank bowl anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's not remember that the Cleveland Browns used to be relevant a long, long time ago.
It sounds like the
Hall of Famer Jim Brown.
It sounds like the World Cup third place playoff that nobody cares about.
Well, I think that might have been the case. Speaking of things that people might not have cared about, a couple of years later, in 1966, the National Football League Championship game, we're talking pre-Super Bowl, the National Football League Championship game held at Lambeau Field, the Green Bay Packers beat the Cleveland Browns 23-12. This was the first NFL game to be televised in color, the same year that the World Cup was first televised in color in Britain as well. And it was the last NFL game to be played before the Super Bowl era. So the Packers can claim that they used to be the number one team in the world in 1966.
Is this beat up Cleveland Browns show?
Well, yeah,
That sounds like
not quite. All right, a year later, in 1967, on the 9th of January, the NFL's newest franchise, the New Orleans Saints, officially take on their last name, the Saints. They were known as the New Orleans football team for a whole year before taking on the term and the name the Saints. So a little bit of what Washington went through for the last couple of years, whether the Washington football team, New Orleans were once referenced as the New Orleans football team before they gave themselves the Saints.
Oh, man.
And I've kept it down to a minimum, but I want to bring things a little bit closer to the end of the 20th century. In 1994, on the 3rd of January, you might have heard of this legendary Hall of Fame quarterback, Steve Young. The 49ers became the first NFL quarterback to win three straight NFL passing titles.
Phil, just remind me, who's Steve Young?
The great Steve Young, a Hall of Fame quarterback, preference to playing with his left hand, and actually, unlike other left-handed quarterbacks of that era, Dan Marino, he actually won a Super Bowl.
Oh, he won more than one, didn't he?
Interesting question, though.
Steve Young actually won 3 Super Bowls, if you were interested. He won one in 89, 88, and also he became NFL MVP and also Super Bowl MVP. Steve Young, in particular, in this year, Ollie, he also became the first NFL quarterback to throw for 5 touchdown passes, beating a previous Hall of Fame quarterback, Joe Montana. Has anybody heard of Joe Montana? He's pretty cool.
Before, hold that thought. You know that people have swear jars. Can we get like a 49ers jar? Every time they'll chuck a pound. We'd be going on a cruise by Christmas.
We can't have that everybody on the left side of the screen supports a team that will actually win something this year.
We can't win an argument, never mind the game.
At least
we have an offensive coordinator can do anything.
At least you made the playoffs, Shane.
Aye, just about.
Hey, we still can have a chance.
I was not fair play.
No Dilfer news. Dilfer apparently isn't relevant in history.
Nah.
Very educational.
We haven't got any DILF news. Interesting question. Steve Young left-handed. Tua's also left-handed, but he writes right-handed.
Oh.
Yeah, but Steve Young is more likely to win a championship than the other.
He's already won. Steve Young might more likely.
I think Steve Young now is nearly 60, would be more likely to win a championship than Tua.
Yeah. But yeah, my question is, can he write? Is he right-handed normally, or is he?
No, I believe he's left-handed.
He's not a weirdo like Ronnie O'Sullivan could play left and right.
Yeah, but Ronnie O'Sullivan is just weirdo.
I mean, it's very interesting, and talking about like left-handed quarterbacks and why they're so few and far between in terms of successful ones. And I remember like Jerry Rice, and he gave an interview the once about the main difference between going from Joe Montana to Steve Young, because you can go from one Hall of Fame Super Bowl MVP quarterback to another one. And he said, what is the biggest difference? And he went, because he'd been so used to lining up on one side of the field, he then had to change to the other side of the field because, left-handed, you're naturally going to turn to your right to throw left. That's why, like, your blind side. That's why normally, like, the left tackle is normally the most important player on your offensive line, because that blind side. So lining up on a different side of the field. And he also said as well, which I never really thought about, when the ball spirals as a right-handed, it goes in one direction, doesn't it? It rotates in clockwise. A left-handed player is going to throw the ball and spin it anti-clockwise. So, like, in terms of like the projection of catching the ball, it's going to be slightly different. And Jerry Rice said that was a really hard thing to overcome in the first couple of years of Steve Young being the starter, because he'd been so used to lining up on one side, Joe throwing it with a certain spin, and then moving to the left-hand side, and then Steve throwing it with a different one. So, I think it's. I find things like that really, really fascinating.
Ollie, I think you need to credit someone for something.
Yeah, that Tua fact came from Kelly. People jump in before I can't say anything. It's not only that though, but it's going from a right hand to a left hand centre. There was a snap. Yeah. I can't remember what game it was. It went over the. It just came out wrong. What he was expecting, he stood out slightly wrong because he's expecting a right-handed snap. And if it comes that way, it's the same thing. It's more like going to go across the body, and if left-handed, it's going to be going that way.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, it's you don't think about it until you actually go, until it actually happens. The right hand and the left hand it's like a left hand and right-handed batter.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks out there do you think sort of like train predominantly with their left hand just to throw the offense off? I'll give you a quick sidebar as well. Yeah, I'll give you a quick sidebar, right? If anybody's ever heard of this player, please let me know. There was a player for Blackburn Rovers, Morton Gams-Pedersen, one of my favourite players of the Premier League era, right? He's my boy. He's left-footed because his dad said to him, "Don't play with your right, play with your left, because there's a lot more call for left-sided midfielders."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my son he tries and uses his left foot as much as he can, and it's have that skill to be able to use both.
Yeah.
Left foot. I mean, Ronnie O'Sullivan used his left hand to play snooker because he preferred using that than using the rest. So he literally spent a whole season. I'm just going to play the whole season left-handed, just to get in. So it wouldn't matter to switch. And I remember watching 147, just going right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. I've seen Patrick Mahomes throw a ball left-handed when he's right-handed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant skill to have. And as you said, it'd be interesting to see how many players would do it. I don't think there'll be many brave enough to do it.
So back in the league, they can't throw properly right in my knee left.
Nah, mate, you've got a running back for you've got a running back for a quarterback, and we've got a offensive coordinator who can't call a play that wants to be anything else.
I thought
1 yard straight into the low line.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't New England's run into the gut?
Yeah. Pretty much. 1 yard stop. 1 yard stop. Oh, let's do a into the scramble and then try and go that way into the laterals. Oh yes. Ollie's just going to die, I think. Let's roll on to week 18 of football. Obviously there is a lot on the line on this week. A lot, and it starts on Saturday night. With the Jags it doesn't. It starts with the Raiders and the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused about why they've chosen that game. There's not that much on the line for that one.
Chiefs win, then the guaranteed number one.
Maybe? I thought Buffalo, because they're doing Wimpy. I thought Buffalo were. Well, I guess now Buffalo. Now we don't know what's going on with that game.
Yeah, this was decided before Buffalo Cincy even. I almost said tipped off them, but that's completely the wrong sport.
The thing I read is that they're going to do it on win percentage in the NFC.
Yeah. Which you could end up being the same, but never mind. I mean, NFC, there's 3 teams that are still going for the 7th spot.
Yeah. Two that are playing each other.
Yeah, and Seattle have got a walkover against the LA Rams. AFC, obviously, you've got the South. Yeah, AFC South, the Jacksonville against Titans, obviously going for their number one, their divisional titles. So that's obvious. They've got it right. 8:30 or 8:15 Saturday night in American time, Eastern time. Understandable. You've then got New England, Miami, and Pittsburgh all going for the number 7 seed.
As John just said, he's happy with first. The sooner the season ends, the better.
Love it. There's a lot
on the Raiders, and I'll be interested about our viewpoints as well, because I think this will be probably one of the biggest stories of the off-season, only because I've just read certain rumors, certain kind of sources talking about this. The Raiders in the off-season, rumor innuendo is that they're going to go all in to get Tom Brady.
That's a very hot one, isn't it? Obviously the Josh McDaniels, the other coaching that they brought, a couple of coaches they brought over, the GM that they brought over from New England.
Because his contract is up in Tampa at the end of the season. Yeah. So, I've said it before, Vegas, the Davises, they love a name, they love a star, they love shock. They've decided to go with McDaniels over Carr. They've got Devontae Adams. They need a name because they are in massive cash flow problems. I could see Tom Brady doing 1-2 years in the silver.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady, okay, majority of this season looked like the cliff has fallen from under him. Very, very much so.
However, this weekend, he looked like he was back to his best.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 420-odd yards he threw this week, which was ridiculous. Admittedly, 150 of them were to Mike Evans for 3 monster touchdowns. But why wouldn't he want to go there? Because when the lure of Tampa was Mike Evans, Scotty Miller, he dragged Gronk over, he got Antonio Brown over. He brought these players with him, that lure.
Yeah, but in Vegas, you think, I was going to say, in Vegas, you think, all right, they'll have Jacobs, they'll have Hunter Renfrow, they've got Devontae Adams. Their O-line probably might need some fixing, but they look pretty good against the 49ers for the most part. Their defense is solid when they're on it, like they are. I mean, you've got what's his name? Is it Crosby?
Max Crosby, yeah.
Who's second best to Bosa in terms of being an effective end. So I think
he's also got a coach he knows, coaching staff he knows, GM he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a running back and there's an O-lineman that he knows as well.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised. Brady, Vegas, 2023. But anyway.
But ask yourself one question. He's 45 years old. How long does he have left, legitimately? 2 years. You think 2 years, do you?
I think he has as long as he wants.
Yeah.
I think it's got until his body gives up, and it depends how many hits he takes.
Yeah.
I think. If he was in that Cincy O-line, yes, his ball release is incredibly quick. For someone who's 45, he's quicker than I think it's quicker than 30 quarterbacks in this league.
Yeah, something like that.
It's ridiculous. So he's got the quickest release in the league. Aaron Rodgers said on Pat McAfee a few weeks ago saying he could see him play for another 3-4 years.
Wow.
Will the nation accept him after 2001?
If he guarantees you a Super Bowl, yes.
John,
I was about to say, if he brings you a ring.
John, you love bringing up the tuckle, don't you?
Oh, yes.
You love bringing up the tuckle.
Obviously, John, obviously 2001 aside and the top rule, but if Tom Brady comes into Vegas, wins you your first Super Bowl since 1983, we still bang on about 2001.
I love that one.
I don't.
One.
Right.
He takes with one hand, he gives with the other.
Yeah.
There's some massive games. Obviously, you've got a divisional matchup. in that bottom right-hand corner over there.
Everybody has a divisional matchup.
I mean, as in
absolutely he will.
Divisional matchup, as in you win the league. No, you don't.
Potentially.
You win the division.
Win.
I mean, the Cardinals are massively injury struck. They're down to their fourth quarterback of the season. I mean, again, we take for granted that we have quarterbacks that can just play to a really, really high level. 1, 2, or 3. Well, they've gone through their fourth quarterback now because they've lost Murray, they've lost Colt McCoy, they've lost whoever was playing last week.
McSorley.
This is going to be JJ Watt's last game in the NFL.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 49ers would like to win. The Cardinals are not expected to do anything because they're so massively injury hit. They're probably happy when the season's over. And Black Monday might not be everyone's favorite thing to go through if you're part of the Cardinals organization.
I hear the Cardinals are asking the guy who sells popcorn to play quarterback for him.
Right. Question to you Niners fans. You are number 2. You're guaranteed him. You probably are going to be, at worst, 5. So you're in. There's you, Dallas, and Minnesota all on 12 and 4.
Yeah.
Do you rest Brock? Do you rest Kittle? Do you rest Bosa? Do you rest your star players and go, we're in? We're either going to end up with Minnesota, you could probably beat. If you finish 5, you'll end up with Minnesota.
How would we get 5? We're guaranteed top 3.
If I'm just looking at the stats. I haven't got what it is all on me at the moment.
The reason we've got 3 is because if Dallas win, because Dallas and Philadelphia are in the same thing, we're guaranteed top 3 seeds.
Yeah.
Okay. You play all at the same time. So yeah, you are playing all at the same time, aren't you? So
So here's what I think. On offense, I think Brock needs the reps. He's only started 4 games. He played a lot of college ball, but he's not played a lot with the starters. So I'd give Brock the reps.
Yeah.
On defense, I'd start the star players and maybe start pulling them out if we're up big. That's what I do.
John says he thinks you could afford to rest
players
against Cardinals.
We probably could. But I don't want to be complacent going into this because I feel like we were complacent against the Raiders and that almost cost us.
I think we play to win until the game is guaranteed.
Yeah.
In terms of whether or not we just throw offense. We get to 21-ish points, so like 3 touchdowns by the half, and then slightly start reducing certain players out of the lineup.
Bosa said in his press conference after the game, he said, we underestimated them and we won't do that again. So we need to make sure we don't do that again.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, yeah. So let's start with Chiefs. Obviously, Chiefs are probably going to be in that same situation. They could be 20, 30 points up. Right, let's take Mahomes out. Let's take Chris Jones out. Kelsey out. Let's not give them. That's done. They're done. Interesting one is Jags Titans. Are Titans resting? What's his face? Malik Willis. A problem because they blatantly did bring in Josh Dobbs because they needed Malik Willis for next week or this week. Jags are on a roll. Is this going to cost Titans?
Yes, I think the Jags will win this game.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I'm not going to go into it because I know it's a prediction game, but I do think the Jags will win.
Yeah.
I think Trev is rolling right now. And the fact that I think there's a certain level of belief in this team. The Jags are one of those little engines that could teams, but I think when they've got momentum behind them now, and the fact that they all believe in each other, I think they're going to be a surprise package in the playoffs. I really do.
There's 2 teams that I wouldn't want to play in the playoffs, and one of them's in the north, one of them's in the northeast, and one of them's in Florida.
Green Bay and
Jacksonville.
I
wouldn't want to play, or even Tampa, to be fair. Brady in the playoffs, it's something else. Jacksonville are literally on a roll at the moment. playing incredibly well.
I really don't want to play Green Bay. I'll be cheering very loudly for the Lions on
Sunday. Yes, there'll be several people. As Shano put on the post, there is a they're now our favourite team in the UK due to Dan Campbell and Hard Knocks.
We do love Dan Campbell.
The Lions are the team of the Third and Long podcast.
Yes,
most definitely. Eagles. So they've got New York.
I was going to ask you guys actually. Have any of you seen any? Is Hurts back? Do you guys know?
Noah said to me earlier, Hurts is back.
No,
but I don't think they will. It's like our Dan Jones. Their reporters are going. Not Dan Jones. Our New York Giants. They're probably going to rest Dan Jones. They're going to go with Mike Glennon.
Yeah.
No, they can't go with Mike Glennon.
He's signed the practice squad, isn't he?
He's gone to Miami.
Yeah, didn't I really?
Oh, of course. Getting confused. But yeah, are they going to rest Barkley, Jones, knowing that they're in?
Yes.
Because they can't drop. They are where they are.
Yeah, they can't.
They're guaranteed to be 6. They can't go up, so they might as well rest players, knowing fair well that they're going to have, probably San Fran, Dallas, Minnesota next week.
For the millionth time, Dallas can't get top 4 unless the Eagles lose.
Exactly. It's, you're going to be having a really, really different game.
I hope. I'd rather have the Giants than whoever finishes 7th.
Yeah.
Who's finishing 7th?
Green Bay.
In the NFC.
Green Bay, I think.
Yeah, I unfortunately think Green Bay are going to win, and I don't want it.
If it was in Ford Field, I would have gone Detroit all day long.
Yes, but it's not. It's at Lambeau Field.
I'm not going to go too much into this because obviously that's a prediction game.
I was going to say, shall we move on to the predictions?
Let's move on to predictions.
Ollie's very happy about the predictions.
I've taken the lead. 3 out of 3 last week. I am sad that obviously the one game has been null and voided for obvious reasons. So I've gone on to 42. Mr. Phil is on 41. Shano, our Welsh wizard, is on 40. And Ollie's somewhere back there on 31. I don't think he really even thought about it this year. He's just pulled out of a hat. Yeah, that'll do.
There's still a lot of football to play.
What?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So, our games have gone. Obviously, Jags-Titans. The AFC South on the line. Texans-Colts. Texans win. Bears lose. Colts number 1 pick. Ravens-Bengals. Divisional matchup. Really, really, really tricky game. And then, obviously, the battle for the 7th seed. Although, saying that, it could be out of everyone's hand because it could have been Seattle by that time.
Ollie, can I go first? Because most of the time I go last and people have already taken my points.
Go on, then.
Okay, so the first game is Jacksonville.
Sorry. You're quite a long distance away at the bottom of this. What do you mean? You going last means people are going to take away your points. What?
like the point of why I'm picking the teams I'm picking.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
So,
as you were,
I've got the Jags because Trevor Lawrence sort of roll. Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne, all playing well. Evan Ingram's having a bit of a purple patch. And the Titans is just a bad team. They're very reliant on Derrick Henry, and I think the Jags will snuff them out. The next game is...
Even though the Jags right tackle... Is it left tackle? Right tackle? Can't remember which one it is. Went down a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I still fancy the Jags. Texans or Colts. I mean, Sam Ellinger versus Davis Mills. You know what? I'm going to go for the Texans. I feel like Davis Mills has a bit more experience, and I think the Colts are starting to smell potentially the number 1 seed. I'm not sure they can get it, but
no, they can't because they're 4. They're on 4.
Yeah, but I just think Jeff Saturday, unfortunately, isn't a coach. As John's just said, going first, they're just going to copy me so I can't catch up. Well, if they do that, imitation is the highest form of flattery. Ravens and Bengals. I'm sorry, Shane, but I'm going to go Bengals.
I agree with you, but we're going to get battered.
They're the home team. For obvious reasons, they've had an emotional week, but they have had a rest, and I feel like they're going to rally together and beat the Ravens. Joe Burrows, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd.
I know.
And then Lions of Green Bay. I'm going to go with what I want to see rather than what I think is going to happen because I'm so
That's why I was, yeah.
So I'm going to take Detroit and try and manifest it. And that's all
let's do a reverse order then. Go on then, Shane.
Right, okay then. So I think also that the Jags are going to win because, once again, we're manifesting. You know, I want to see them do well because they are, of course, Tony Khan's team as well, being a big marker than I am. And the AFC North matchup, there's going to be...
You mean AFC South?
Wait, did I skip one?
Texans Colts.
Sorry, yes, you're correct. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, I think the Texans are going to win. I think I'm going to go with Ollie on that one because I just think like they have the ability to turn up and play really well. It's like when they played the Chiefs the other week. They played really well. And they almost beat them.
Yeah,
and the Cowboys as well. So they are.
Yeah.
And I just think, like Ollie said, Jeff Saturday is not a coach. I think the Colts are literally they can't wait for the season to finish, just like the Cardinals. I'm definitely going for the Texans in that one. Right, on to this crunch AFC matchup between my beloved Baltimore Ravens and the Bengals. There's going to be a horror show at Paycor Stadium. And speaking of horror, Phil, have you seen the trailer for the new Evil Dead?
Yes, mate. It looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I had to distract myself from this.
I have a feeling for Ravens fans, this is going to be more scary than that film.
Yeah. It's going to be bad, but it's going to be like pulling my nails out watching this game. So yeah, Bengals all day. They're going to batter us. We offer nothing on offense. They're going to batter us. And the next game is the
Lions of Green Bay.
That's the one. As you said, Mr. Hope, and I am 100% on board with you. I am going to manifest destiny. I am pushing the Lions to win this game. As we've previously mentioned, Dan Campbell is a huge favorite on this podcast with all of us. We really want to see the Lions go as far as they can. So I'm going for the Lions 100%.
I might have to tweet out and tag Dan Campbell to see if we can get him on the show.
Wait, Dan Campbell's on Twitter? Dan Campbell's on Twitter, is he really?
Yeah.
Don't tease now, Al. Don't tease. Because I'll tag him now.
Well, I mean, Shano, Trent Dilfer's on Twitter and you haven't got him on the show yet, so...
I'm trying!
Hey, when we do it, we'll tag it in and say, we're playing Play Your Dilf Right. Featuring Trent Dilfer.
You know what? I don't care, man. Like, if you got him on the show, I would play Your Dilf Right. Like, Trent, you were a fairly below-limited quarterback in the NFL. How would you...
Just don't get us sued, please.
He'd be like that with his ring. Sorry, Phil, what are you saying?
Sorry, well, you get Trent Dilfer, and I'll find Steve Young on social media, and I will try and get the great Steve Young on the show.
Anyway.
On to your predictions, Phil.
All right. Jags over Titans. Jags, I said back in January, in September, the Jags.
I was going to say January, you weren't on the podcast.
Actually, I did say in this January, that the Jags will be in the playoffs as well. No, I said in September, I as my bold prediction, Jacksonville will be in the playoffs, and I still think that will be the absolute case. They have, since Wembley, they have really, really turned up.
Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence is starting to look every bit of the quarterback that we hoped he would be a year ago, and there will still be bumps in the road for Trevor, but he is on the right path to greatness. So I'm going to pick Jags over Tennessee. Then we've got Tank Bowl. We've got the Texans taking on the Colts. Oh my God, it's really hard to pick between absolute excrement and urine. Jeff Saturday's only win is against the Raiders, man. So I'm going to go with the Texans purely because they even though their record is very, very poor. What are they 2-1?
2-12-1. No, 2-13-1.
2-13.
So the one but the last, against the Chiefs and against the Cowboys, they took both teams to the limit, and they were a field goal away or a missed field goal away from actually winning. I think it was against the Cowboys.
It wouldn't surprise me if this game also ended up in a tie.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Texans. I think the Bungles are going to beat the Ravens because speaking of Evil Dead trailer being absolutely terrifying, and even more terrifying would be the Bengals taking on the Ravens. But what's even more scary, ladies and gents, is what is this Baltimore offense going to look next year when Lamar is not in Baltimore? That is the scariest thought.
Don't make him cry.
Thoughts like that keep me up at night. Thoughts like that keep me up at night.
But in all seriousness, Cincinnati are quickly becoming an elite team, especially in the AFC. They're becoming part of the big three. And then finally, I'm going to sound like an absolute horrible person for saying this. Green Bay will beat the Detroit Lions because that's what Green Bay does. Because do you think I want to say this? You think I want Aaron Rodgers to go to the playoffs again to then just blow it all away because that's what he does? It's just an Aaron Rodgers thing, and I hate him for it. He will just somehow, through some trick, Hail Mary, I don't want to swear, but some bullcrap play, that the Green Bay Packers will somehow, through some form of roughhousery, beat the Detroit Lions. I don't want it to happen. I just think it will happen. Oh, hush mush.
Jags can't see him not beating Titans. Yeah. As Ollie said, they are Derrick Henry. Occasionally throw the ball. Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I want to, before I'm going to go, what do you make of that comment? Not Texans, Bengals, Lions, but
which one?
Jared Goff should be MVP.
Of what?
The league.
We're actually going to put him in that category. Kelly, mate, bless you. But no, he has had a good season. He has a very good season, like really. But I don't know. I don't know if he's had that MVP caliber season, especially if the Lions do not make the playoffs.
I don't think Goff is the level of the other quarterbacks that are currently in discussion.
I mean, if we're going to be objective, we can take into account that the Lions aren't expected to do anything. Like in general, every season they're not expected to do anything. They haven't been relevant since like Barry Sanders, really. But if we say this season, I'm just going to name some quarterbacks. Has Jared Goff been better than Patrick Mahomes? No. Has he had a better season? And I don't think he's actually disappointed me quite a lot this season. Has he had a better season than, say, Josh Allen?
No.
I reckon he
had a better season than Joe Burrow.
Has he had a better season than Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, another one. I mean, so if he hasn't had a better season than those other players in his exact same position, I don't think it's fair to put him in that category when he's done really well with what he's been given, and we cannot take that away from him. But is he better than the other quarterbacks that have had a much better season than him?
Right. To put into perspective, to get some stats, Jared Goff, 6th in passing yards at 4,214. 4th in touchdowns, 29. 7th in the QBR rating overall.
Okay, but is Mahomes above him in all those?
I'm just getting those quarterback stats
is
up.
Mahomes, even Brady on the down as Dak.
I'm also gonna put him. So he's had only one more yardage. Well, one more yards. In fact, if he goes over 400 yards against Green Bay, it would be his most yardage.
Well, I hope he does, but I don't think he will.
He needs 3 touchdowns to go further and more touchdowns than anything else. He's had less interceptions than he's ever had.
Okay, so he's having a career year.
He's on his best QBR rating this year.
Yeah, but career year does not equate to an MVP year.
And this doesn't. And this is going against. This is the year he got to the Super Bowl with that star-studded lineup. This is going with Detroit. He is having probably. This is the best I've ever seen Jared Goff play, and you could see he's having so much fun. He's really enjoying it. Passer yarding wise, he is 6th, and yes, he has got the big 3 ahead of. He's ahead of Allen. He's ahead of Lawrence. He's ahead of Tua. He's ahead of Jalen Hurts.
So this is what I was just actually about to say about Goff. Goff doesn't have the weapons. If Goff had the weapons, then yes, maybe we would put him in the MVP category. But he doesn't have the weapons, so he's not been able to maybe show his full talent. So unfortunately, I don't think he's an MVP. But maybe in a couple of years, if he carries on playing this way with an upward trajectory and has some weapons, he could be.
Yeah, I mean, Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes scored more touchdowns. But they've also had more interceptions. Jared Goff has had 7 interceptions. People that have had more than Mahomes, Burrows, Allen, Derek Carr, Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott missed 5 games.
Yeah.
He could be an outside bet for MVP. Shano, our betting specialist, what's Jared Goff for MVP? Bring that one up, my friend.
Good question.
I would. You've got Mahomes, Burrow, Jalen Hurts as your main 3 category, and then you've probably got Goff, Brady, Rodgers, because those 2 are always in there. So probably in that next category that could get it.
Oh, what were your predictions?
Going back to that. Jags because Titans are too much of a one-man team. Bengals, Ravens. I'm going to come back to Texans, Colts in a minute. Bengals, Ravens. Ravens, without Lamar, they are a poor team. They probably got one of the. Sorry, Shane. You've probably got one of the worst wide receiving cores in the league, and that includes.
100%. But yeah, don't apologise. It's true.
You've got in that league because you've got a very, very good defense. You do have a good defense. Your secondary is brilliant. You've got a good pass rush. And you see that our pass rush is good. If you can get to Joe Burrows, it does make them a bit scatty. And he does make mistakes. He's not inflappable. He's only been in the league. He's only played in the league for 2.5 years, effectively. He missed half his rookie season for injury. But as Ollie said, Cincinnati have played not even a quarter of a game in 2 weeks. How much is Monday Night Football going to play on their minds?
We'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, they could come out the starting blocks firing, or like pumped up, just want to get it out of their system, or they could play with. I mean, especially with something like injuries. I mean, from a player's point of view, if you are, I broke my leg as a goalkeeper, and for like the first couple of games back, because I was out for 6 months. For the first couple of games back, I was really hesitant to going in for challenges or diving to my right side where I broke it. And with this, what's happened on Monday, I'm not saying that, but like just the everyday thing of a tackle. It was a tackle, just a normal basic tackle that caused this. Are players going to have in their head that, well, I'm not going to go 100% of this tackle because if I do, this could happen. So we won't really know. I mean, there might be some players with that, but I generally don't know. It might be on their minds, but it might not be.
Just aside, just before you finish, John has helped us out by checking Trent Dilfer's stats: 113 TDs to 129 INTs.
John, you forgot the most important stat.
Super Bowl, how many rings?
Ring.
Exactly.
Anyway, Ollie, you in the middle of
Yeah.
your predictions.
But saying that, I just think if Cincinnati can get what happened on Monday night out of their heads, they're just going to blow the Ravens out of the water. Your only problem is if you could have got at Cincy's DBs, but you don't have wide receivers that can cause them problems. You've got Mark Andrews, and that's it. So sorry, I'm making it a quadruple.
To be fair, usually when that happens, the other team wins.
I was going to say, yeah, you know what happens when we say that.
Can I go for a tie with Texans Colts? But no, I mean, who wants to lose the most? Texans lose, they go number one. I can't remember who it was. Matthew has just messaged. Can you pop that one up for us all? It's a long one. Of course, he was at the Cincy game, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes. Please, what was it like at the Bengals game? You know, what was it all like? What was it like? Because that's what I'd love to know. I've heard so many things. Players going, we don't go out to play to lose. You know, we've got contracts on the line. We've got bonuses on the line. I agree. Jeff Saturday's a shocking head coach. Shouldn't have been anywhere near this NFL, but he is as a coach. So I am going to join the clanging of Texans. Do I play pantomime villain?
I've got my views ready if you do.
Nah. Do I play pantomime villain? I really like Green Bay. I am so high on Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's one of the easily top 10 wide receivers in this league. They've got a brilliant run attack on. You know, they've got probably two of the best running backs in the league. 1-2 punch running.
You're high on Amon-Ra St. Brown, but you're also high on Christian Watson.
Yeah, Christian Watson's got a niggle since the Miami game. Two very good, very young wide receivers going at it. Jared Goff is having a career season. Aaron Rodgers knows how to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Head, heart, head. I'm going Ollie, boo, please. I'm going Green Bay. Purely the fact because I can't have all four of us going for Lions and them winning, and then them losing and then playing. Us all having all four Lions and then them losing, and then it's our fault because they didn't get in.
Phil went Green Bay.
Yeah,
I went Green Bay. I went Green Bay.
Oh yeah, you did. But yeah, I would love Detroit to get in there. I really, really would. But I just think, you know, Rodgers' nous of getting into the playoffs will get them there. You know, they've won. So they've won what, 6 of the last 7 games, something like that. It's, you know, it's ridiculous how good Green Bay have been lately, and they blew Miami out of the water on Christmas Day.
Boo.
I'm, you know, hopefully Kelly's daughter will never hear me say this, but yeah, I think Green Bay are gonna. I just think Green Bay just got that little bit too much on Detroit, but I really like Detroit, and I think they're probably gonna. I think if their season had started 7 weeks later and carried on going now, they would have won that division.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think they possibly could. They'll be in the playoffs next year, and they're probably going. They got a real shot to beat them in the division. So yeah, on that one. Shano, it's a late one, special as it is. Please,
yes,
mate.
but thank you very much.
Can I have 2 from the top and a number and 3 from the bottom, please?
Like I said, we are rolling over time, so I'll try and make this as quick as possible. All of these bets are currently available on Sky Bet as we speak. The first one I'm going to look at is Chiefs to win, Pat Mahomes to pass over 300 yards, and Travis Kelce to have 1+ touchdown, so it could be multiples, or obviously anything after 1. That's 3-1 with Sky Bet. Mahomes passed for over 300 yards, sorry, for over 350 yards last week. So we all know he's capable of it. And the fact that the Chiefs, everyone knows the Chiefs are going to beat the Raiders anyway. It's just a case of,
Sorry, John.
yeah, sorry, John. You know, I think it's going to be a case of Mahomes is going to pass, and who's he going to pass it to, and who's his favorite target.
Shane,
yes, Ben.
Here's my issues with that bet.
Go on.
KC could rest players, and I think top of that list would be Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
It's called gambling for a reason, but nothing's 100%. You know what I mean? But yeah, I completely understand what you're saying. But that stuck out to me. So like I said, that's with Sky Bet at the moment. The next bet I'm gonna pick is against my team. The Bengals are 1-3 on to beat my Ravens. Put the house, put the car, put the dog, put the kids, put the wife, put everything you own on the Bengals to beat the Ravens, because they will. You won't get much back. You might get the price of a pint, but say when you go to the bar and buy that pint, say Shane sent me. So yeah, they are 1-3 to beat them as well. And another one that I found, which I don't think Ollie and Phil will agree, but I know me and Mr. Hope would like this to happen.
Wrong, Ollie.
Lions to beat the Packers, and 50+ match points between the two teams is 4-1. I definitely think both offenses are quite capable of racking up the points, and they're both going to be in survival mode. They both want to score as many points as humanly possible. So that's 4-1 as well.
You've got a comment from your missus here. Not like you to bet against the Ravens.
Hey! Get back here and sort this dog out. Right, the dog's been downstairs like whining for an hour, and now she stopped whining. I think I know why now.
Have you fed it?
Oh yeah, he fed her and walked her and everything. She's so attached to Laura, it's unreal. Yeah, so, and by the way, these are not just harebrained picks which I've plucked out of the air. The Brady and Mahomes bet actually came in last week. Mr. B.
Yeah, won me £8.
So like, 8 quid. That's the price of a pint in Bristol these days.
Nah, Chelsea.
Oi. Yeah, and all these bets will be available on the official podcast page as well.
What's the dog's name? Is it Lamar?
It's a girl. No.
What is
Raya. I didn't name her. Raya.
Raya.
I didn't name her.
Nice.
Is after the dragon person in that Disney movie?
Do you know what? Right? It is. I'm not a Disney mark. Laura is, right? But that's exactly what she named it after.
Because obviously my dog's name is Nala after the Lion King.
I know. Yes, I know.
I've just got a hamster called Ted. Not named after anything.
I thought you named her after my middle name, Ollie.
So
No.
yeah,
Right.
that's it from me this week.
We'll start off with a real somber show. Start of the show with what happened with Damar. We will finish the show with saying we wish you all the best. Hope you get better incredibly quickly. It sounds like you're making incredibly quick progress. And we hope to see you out and about very, very soon. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, good night. We'll see you back on Monday.